Driving back home to the mountains of North Carolina this morning. I've been out of town, been in New York City making a TV show that I'm really excited about. Yesterday I was listening to somebody play jazz on Duke Ellington's piano and listening to Samara Joy sing along to it, which is to say that I'm fortunate to live a really wonderful life. But I want to take a moment and thank the people who have reached out to me and sent me messages and, written to me through the website and offered me words of encouragement, about the things that I said last week at the commissioners meeting in Jackson County, North Carolina. It came as a surprise in so much as I didn't know that meeting was being recorded, and I most assuredly didn't know that it was going to be shared on places like TikTok. I don't even have a TikTok. I couldn't imagine that it was going to, be shared the way that it was. But it means something to me, to everyone who reached out to me. Looking back, there are some things that I wish I'd done a little bit differently. But that's just the way that things go when you're talking on the fly and you're speaking from the heart. When I quoted Alexander Stephens and I asked if they knew who he was, I wish I'd taken time to let them answer me. Because the truth is, I don't think anyone on that commission knew who Alexander Stephens was. And for a group of people to believe that the Confederacy is something that is still relevant and important enough in 2025 that they think its flag should stand over their town, I would hope that they knew who the vice president of that institution was. I would hope that they knew the words from that speech. But I don't think that they did. Nor do I think they know what happened to Alexander Stephens after that war. I wish I'd asked them if they knew where he was 15 years later. Was he imprisoned? Was he hanged for treason? Because he wasn't. You jump forward 15 years after the end of the Civil War, and after the Confederacy falls, after its short little 4-year stint that lasted about as long as high school. And Alexander Stephens is the governor of the state of Georgia. And that is to say that Reconstruction was a short-lived moment of hope in American history that ushered in a Jim Crow era in which groups like the Daughters of the Confederacy built statues and monuments like the one that stands in Sylvan, North Carolina, and they dotted the American South with those monuments as a reminder of who was still in charge and who would always be in charge. It ushered in a Jim Crow era that we are still living in the shadow of, that we see in moments like when, in 2020 when Ahmaud Arbery was chased through the streets and shot like a dog, and you had a local DA who wasn't even willing to bring charges upon his murderers until there was enough public outcry for her to do so. You see it in the way that words like diversity, equity, and inclusion have become pejoratives. We are a country that was founded upon and perpetuated by white supremacy. I wholeheartedly believe that. And just as I told those commissioners, I believe that their actions are an act of white supremacy. I also think that it is necessary for people like me to say those words aloud and to speak them to their faces. We live in a time where people like to throw around phrases like white guilt. I said during that meeting that, I'm the direct descendant of enslavers. That's not an easy thing to say. But I want it to be very clear that that is not something that I am ashamed of or that I feel guilty about. What I would feel guilty about, what would be shameful to me, would be to recognize that I'm the direct beneficiary of that system and to keep my mouth shut. That's shameful. And so, Until the day that I die, I will speak it aloud. And I appreciate everyone who took a moment to tell me that they were standing beside me. It means a lot. So thank you.